Welcome all for today's lecture of water resource engineering. Today we are going to see the hydrological cycle. I am Mr. S. S. Savule, Assistant Professor, Civil Engineering Department. So this is about the movement of water on Earth. That is how water change its phase and how it heading circulate. So hydrological cycle is also called as a water cycle. It deals with the origin and distribution of water on the globe. The complex pathways includes passage of water from gaseous stage in the atmosphere to the oceans, lakes, rivers, etc. So here you can see how the water is traveling on the globe. But like energy, the total amount of water also remains constant. Its distribution among the various process changes. Throughout Throughout, water changes between three different states, that is, water evaporating into water vapor, vapor condensed to become a water, and water freezing into ice, and ice melting into water. Process of hydrological cycle starts with oceans. Water in oceans gets evaporated due to heat energy provided by the solar radiation and forms a water vapor. This water vapor moves towards upwards to higher altitude, forming clouds. Most of the clouds condense and precipitate in many forms like rain, hail, snow, and sleet. The part of clouds is driven to land by winds, precipitation while falling on the ground. Some part of it evaporates back again into the atmosphere. So, portion of water that reaches the ground enters into Earth's surface, infiltrating various strata of soil and enhancing the moisture content as well as the water table. The vegetation sends the portion of water from Earth's surface back to atmosphere through the process of transpiration. Once water percolates and infiltrates the Earth's surface, runoff is formed over the land, flowing through the contours of land heading towards river and lakes and finally joins into oceans after many years. Some amount of water is retained in as depression storage. Further again, the process of this hydrological cycle continues by blowing cool air over ocean, carrying water molecules, forming into water vapor, then clouds, getting condensed and precipitates as a rainfall. Similarly, then water gets percolated into soil, increasing water table, then formation of runoff waters heading towards water bodies. Thus, the cyclic process continues. Now, the hydrological process. Hydrological cycle includes the following processes. The water cycle or the hydrological cycle consists of so many processes. These processes are called as hydrological process, and this includes the following processes, that is evaporation, condensation, precipitation, interception, infiltration, percolation, transportation, runoff and storage. So we are going to see these processes one by one. So first is evaporation. So evaporation occurs when water changes from liquid state to gaseous states. Evaporation occurs when water surfaces like lakes, seas, etc. evaporated moisture lifted into atmosphere, but some vapor always exists in the atmosphere. You can see by heat energy because of sun, water gets evaporated and rising the water pressure. This is the warm ocean surface or any water body. Due to evaporation, the water vapor forms. Then the condensation. The condensation is process by which water vapors changes into water. Water vapor condenses to form a dew, fog or clouds. Condensation takes place due to cooling of air. As sometimes we can see when we keep a glass of cold water, or if any in any pot we are going to put ice, so we can see the water gets condensed at the side of at the outer edge of the that particular pot. So this is because of the condensation, because of the cool air in the because of the less temperature in the of pot, the vapors in the atmosphere get condensed and deposited on the edge of the or outside of the pot. So this is the phenomena of condensation. Then the precipitation. Precipitation is the process that occurs when water particles fall from the atmosphere and reach the ground. Just like rainfall, the precipitated water may fall into the water bodies or on land. It can then go to streams or penetrates into the soil. So here you can see in these forms the precipitation occur. That is rain, snow, sleet and hail. Then the interception. Interception is the process of interrupting the movement of water in the chain of transportation events leading to streams. When rain first begins, water striking the leaves and other material spread over the surface and or collects at a point of edges. So here you can see this water get intercepted. This is the leaf, water get intercepted and it is collected on the edge of the particular. So this is particularly the intersection. Infiltration. Infiltration is the physical process involving movement of water through the boundary area where atmosphere interferes with soil. Infiltrated water and water stored in the soil that become the subsurface runoff. So this is basically the water infiltrated into the soil and raising the water table. Here you can see this is the in this less infiltration because of non-porous soil, and this is the porous soil which allows the water to infiltrate in much more higher rate. Then the percolation. Percolation is the movement of water through the soil due to gravity or by capillary forces. All groundwater originates as a subsurface water. Then the transpiration. It is the biological process that occurs mostly in the day. Water inside the plant is transferred to the atmosphere as a water vapor. Only small portion of water retained by the plants. As we know, the water, the plant sucks the water or takes the water from the ground through the by the roots. That is water absorbed by the roots. Then it goes into the plants, and from there, water vapor loss through the pores because of this transpiration. That is the food actually this is the this process is involved in the food making of the plant. As we know, plant is making food with the help of sunlight and the leaves. And the runoff is the flow from the drainage basin in the surface streams. It generally consists of the flow that is unaffected by artificial divergence or storages. So this water get infiltrated and then coming into the surface runoff. Even direct water or the water from the land also contributes in the surface runoff. Here you can see the surface runoff, and that is the interflow. The storage. There are three basic water storage places: in atmosphere, on earth surface, and in ground. The surface storage spaces like ocean, lakes, reservoirs, glaciers, etc. And the underground storage occurs in soil, in the cracks of rocks, etc. So these are basically the storages of water on the land. Now the floods and droughts. Because of uneven distribution and movement of water can cause extreme phenomena such as floods and droughts. Now we can see due to extreme rains in some places there is a flood situations, and because of less rainfall there there are some drought areas or the less water areas are there. So this is because of the uneven distribution and movement of water. So here you can see the water cycle. Again, we are going to see, that is, you can see these processes, how the water changes or how the water travels. So basically this is the hydrological cycle, that is water cycle. Here you can see the evaporation, then it stores in atmosphere, even the cloud forming is there, then condensation is there, then it precipitation is there, then this is the runoff. This through this storage, the evaporation again takes place. From here also evaporation again takes place. These are the all runoffs, and this is the transpiration because of the plants. Here again you can see the evaporation. This is the infiltration. This is the groundwater flow, that is, and at some places where this groundwater discharge is there, that when that lake or any sometimes in types of in case of bore wells also, when it intercepts to the groundwater discharge, we can take that water out. This is the infiltration, again this groundwater discharge to the soil. So this is complete hydrological cycle. Even the ice has been shown here, storage in form of ice, and again that melted runoff is there. So this is the hydrological cycle. So this is all about hydrological cycle, how it runs, what is the behavior of the water, or what is the phase changing of water in all the places or all the phases, and how the water is transported around the globe. Now, for today's lecture, we are considering the small part. What is the difference between dam, a weir, and a barrage? So, a weir is an impervious barrier constructed across a river to raise the water level on the upstream side. The water is raised up to the required height, and the water then flows over the weir. In a weir, the water overflows the weir, but in the dam, the water overflow through a special place called spillway. Where have traditionally been used to create mill ponds. They are also used to prevent flooding, major discharge, and help render a river navigable. So here is the small kind of barrier, impervious barrier. As we can see in our region, so many barriers are there. That is in various places to store the water. That is to raise the water level. The crest of a overflow spillway on a large dam is often called as a weir. A weir can be built of wood, concrete, or marine material like rocks, gravels, boulders. Small weirs are used many times as one possible mitigation measures in large hydropower development, along with the fish ladders, fish stocking, and substrate improvements because low weirs can improve the fish recruitment, stabilize groundwater levels, and lessen the effect of river regulation that often accompanies very large hydro projects. Small weirs usually have positive benefits on winter fish survival, increased biodiversity, and landscape aesthetics. However, they can also result in the increased sedimentation, changes in fish community, and can pose the migration barriers. As we know, in the rainy season, the water in the river is more, so there will not be any disturbance to the flow. But in as the year progresses, in the winter or in summer, uh, the water level in the river is has been decreased. So in these conditions, these weirs helps us to store water behind those that barrier. But again, as mentioned over here, the sedimentation of the soil has been increased behind the this weir wall, and also it proves a, or it works as a barrier to the fish movement, and hence it, it poses the migration uh, because of these barriers. Now a barrage is a weir that has adjustable gates installed over top of it. It allows the different water surfaces heights at the different times. The water levels is adjusted by operating the adjustable gates. So also barrage are also common in the western Maharashtra region. At many places we can see these barrage. And a dam. Dam is a high impervious barrier constructed across a river valley to form a deep storage reservoir. The surplus water is not allowed to flow over the dam, but it flows through spillway provided at some level built into the dam. So spillway is a part of dam which allows the water to flow through it as per the requirement. Even the gates has been installed for the spillways also. We have so many examples of it. That is Koina, then Radhanagari is there, Chandoli Dam is there. So many dams are there in this region, and those are the barriers on the river, and that can be controlled. And even we have the good storage of water behind those dams. So as per requirement, we can allow water to flow through the dam, or the water can be stopped as per the capacity of the dam. So for today's lecture, again, the slide share is the reference, and the book that we have referred, that is Irrigation Engineering and Hydraulic Structures by S.K. Garg. Thank you.